Shalom, family. I want to talk to you about this earthquake that took place in Tonga. Okay, Tonga is an area that's over near the Fiji Islands, pretty much. And so it's very important that we understand what happened here, because three things actually happened in Tonga. And that's what I want to talk about, because it leads up to another video that I did. I'm posting that you guys will be able to see. It's going to be titled "Warning: The Day of Yah is at Hand." And so I needed to do this video here to kind of get your attention, so you'll know when you see that video, you need to share it. You need to pay attention to what I'm saying in that video. Okay. But anyway, let's go ahead on and roll what's being said in this article about Tonga being hit with a magnitude earthquake of 6.2.
Tonga has been rocked by a magnitude 6.2 earthquake, just weeks after a devastating volcanic eruption and tsunami. The quake struck 130 miles west of the island of Lefoka around 7:40 p.m. local time on Thursday, the United States Geological Survey said. Lefoka is part of the low-lying Hapai Islands chain, which was hard hit in the Tonga eruption, with several of the islands seeing all their buildings swept away in the subsequent tsunami. There was no immediate word on damage from Thursday's earthquake, with communications in the region still badly disrupted after the eruption severed an underwater internet cable that is still being repaired. However, the National Weather Service located in nearby American Samoa said no tsunami had been caused, meaning any damage is likely to be limited. Tonga is still recovering from the violent eruption of the Tonga volcano, which occurred on January 14 and devastated the Pacific island nation. The volcano, which is mostly submerged underwater with only the peak visible above the waves, blew its top late in the evening, an explosion that was visible from space and heard in New Zealand, some 1,400 miles away. The blast completely destroyed the top of the volcano and triggered a 50-foot tsunami that smashed into Tonga's islands, causing widespread destruction. Mango and Whanaifua Islands, in the Hapai chain, were two of the worst hit, with almost all buildings swept away and survivors left living under tarpaulins. Officially, the death toll from the eruption stands at 6 people, though more are feared as authorities evacuate outlying islands and take stock of who is missing. A huge international aid operation is now underway, with British and Australian Navy ships arriving Wednesday. Britain said its ship, the HMS Spey, arrived with 30,000 liters of bottled water, medical supplies for more than 300 first aid kits, and basic sanitation products. T said none of its sailors disembarked the ship, and instead moved the supplies ashore by crane. The UK is a long-standing partner of the Pacific Islands, and having the ship deployed in the Indo-Pacific meant that we could be there for Tonga in their hour of need, as the island begins to rebuild their homes and communities, said the Minister for the Armed Forces James Heappey in a statement. The Australian government said its ship had completed the 2,050-mile voyage from Brisbane and would deliver supplies without contact with the local population to avoid infections. We appreciate the decision of the government of Tonga to enable HMAS Adelaide to dock and offload the humanitarian and medical supplies, and the high priority it has placed on COVID safety throughout the recovery process, the statement said. The ship is undertaking an entirely contactless delivery of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief supplies. Meanwhile, the U.S. announced it would provide an additional $2.5 million in humanitarian assistance to Tonga through the U.S. Agency for International Development. The aid was in addition to an initial pledge of $100,000. With restoration of the drinking water supply a major priority, the ship brings a desalination plant. It's also carrying helicopters and engineering equipment. Australia said it was widening its disaster support to include restoration of power and communications. Under pandemic measures, Tonga typically requires visitors to quarantine for 3 weeks on arrival, and that complicates the international disaster response. All international aid is to be delivered without local contact. Tongan authorities have been wary that accepting international aid could usher in a bigger disaster than the huge eruption of the volcano. The tsunami killed 3 people. The ship is the second aid mission from Australia in which at least one crew member tested positive. A C-17 Globemaster military transport plane was earlier turned around mid-flight after a person aboard was diagnosed with the coronavirus.
Okay, so basically you heard it. A lot went on there. They had a volcano eruption that took place. And then after the volcano eruption, there was a tsunami. They had waves of 40 feet high, 49 feet actually to be exact, high. Now I want you to imagine that, right? You're in a house right now where your ceilings are probably about 8 feet high. We talking about 49 feet high. That's a wall of water coming at you 49 feet high. Wow. They said there are at least 5 dead and 18 injured, and they reported a lot of others that are missing. So this is important. It's a reason why I'm doing this video, because it mentions 3 things: earthquake, tsunami, and then it mentions a volcano. These volcano eruptions are kind of significant because I want you to understand what's going on, right? A volcano is kind of like, I hate to use this example, but it's like a boil that a person have on their body, or a bump of some sort, right? A cyst, where it gets to the point where it swells up and it gets so bad to where it's ready to pop. I hope I got your attention, right? Because once it pops, it's at the peak, right? That's what a volcano and eruption is. So there's pressure underneath the earth that's forcing what? A volcano eruption, or what? An earthquake. This is why we see all these earthquakes and tsunamis and volcano eruptions. Now, what I want to do is I want you to understand why this is so important. Because there's been an increase. There has been an increase of all of these things, and they're trying to keep you from knowing this. And so I need you to realize how close we are to the last days. This is why I did a video that's titled Warning, the Day of Yah is at Hand. Because I need you to realize how close we are, and that we are right is at hand, so that you can be ready. This is a warning. Okay, so this next video that you're going to see that's talking about the warning, I want you to pay close attention to it. Pay close attention to it and understand that we are really close. And I want you to share it more than anything. Share that video so that people that you know, loved ones and other people will know that, man, we're this close. Because the statistics that I show you in this video, the graphs and all the other information that I present to you, is enough to make you sit back and say, wow, is that serious? For real? So, on that note, I want you to continue to make yourself ready. Get ready. Those of you that are planning on being at the marriage supper of the Lamb, make sure you get yourself ready, because the time is here. It's close. It's very close. Okay? So, I want you to tune in to that other video. It's going to air tomorrow. And at noon, actually around 12:30 noon Central Standard Time. And so you'll get the notification, those of you that are subscribed. But on that note, I'm going to say I love you all. And I'm doing this because I want you to be ready. Shalom, family.
Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.